Hello. Okay, hold on. Can you guys see and hear me?
I can see you.
Can you see and hear me? All right. Okay, great. I just have a notification coming up here. I'm just not sure how to end this. Give me 1 second. There's something blocking my screen. I'm getting choose want to share. Choose what to share. Okay, cancel. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There. Oh, it's happening again. My apologies. Okay. Welcome, everyone. So great to see you folks in the chat. So great to see a few folks from Clubhouse, some from our Blacks in Technology meeting, some Blacks in Technology folks, some families. So this is great. Thank you so much for coming and joining me today. Lawrence, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you, Byron. Kathy from Blacks in Analytics. I see Stacy Ann. I saw some family in there. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. For those of you who know, we have been doing a 10 days countdown to BitCon. And so this morning I woke up saying, it's here, and last night we were really excited because we've been building a lot of momentum. So a lot of amazing energy that's been garnered worldwide for this event. And so I'm excited to be sharing with you today my talk. And my talk today, as you know, is called Disruption is the New Normal. And this came about last year based on what was happening during the pandemic. And I'm someone who journals, and some of my I say my best work comes least expected when I'm writing and sharing. And I really wanted to address how do we now move forward, in this new normal. And we weren't sure this time last year whether things were going to go back to normal in the new year. But here we are today. Still as locally in Vancouver, we're on our fourth lockdown, but we're making our way. I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those who don't know me, my name is Najiri Watkins. I am the chapter president of Blacks in Technology Vancouver. I joined Blacks in Technology now, I guess about 8 months ago, and through an online source. And then also I happen to be scheduled to be on a panel with a fellow chapter leader out of the US, who unfortunately due to COVID, our panel got canceled, and we were so disappointed. And we said, how can we continue, move forward? And she recommended that I get involved in Blacks in Technology, and things have just been amazing ever since. I'm based in Vancouver, originally from Nova Scotia, and I work as a business intelligence and data analyst. I specialize in helping startups and solopreneurs and organizations navigate the digital world through data. I have also been an educator with the University of British Columbia for over a decade, and I have taught in about 8 different departments. My journey, leading into tech is an interesting one, because I have been a digital technology instructor, really helping individuals new to tech how to navigate the landscape of their personal brand, of moving into from a non-technical background, understanding the technology that we're using from the various platforms to how it can impact your business from a communication standpoint, from a digital marketing, understanding data analytics, and now working specifically with leaders and non-technical founders to really understand how they can leverage their data so that they can optimize all their efforts and become a data-driven organization. I'm also an active community builder. I'm very passionate about community, and community has poured into me and brought me to who I am today. And so I feel it's important to give back. Blacks in Technology is a natural fit for me. I'm also active in the Association of Educators Leaderships. I sit on the Board of Economic Development Advisory Committee for City of Coquitlam, where I reside. Recently, I've been appointed to the external thought leaders for our Auditor General. And it's an interesting time, because I'm excited to be a part of a new way forward of leadership, shared leadership, where they've invited a group of us to come in and literally sit around a table, and we make decisions together. And this is really what the new way forward is going to be. And I'm excited to be a part of that. And here we are today. I just want to share a little piece of something that I wrote, which really was the starting point of where I'm going with disruption is the new normal. There were a lot of conversations last year in the business space, in the tech space, in the community space, And I feel that it's time to really harmonize all of what we've been saying, all of what we've been thinking, and really come together collaboratively and work together in the new way forward. And that's where I came up with really grounding down in cultural innovation. And cultural innovation is where we as a culture look at all aspects of our culture moving forward for innovation. So that involves looking at a multi-generational capacity. That involves looking at a multiracial capacity. It involves looking at all aspects of the human self, the mind, the body, the soul, and social aspects, putting it together so that we can come together and create a world, an innovative world for all of us here together. So I'll begin. Here we sit at the precipice of an era that has quickly given rise to what we globally refer to as the new normal. The unfoldment of new structures, systems, and social mores right before our eyes as we mourn an old existence without a proper goodbye. Hindsight in 2020 vision failed to foresee the panic shuffle of the musical chairs in political, social, cultural, economical, and technical domains, or the game of elimination of personal freedoms. High speed and high definition have desensitized our innate human arousal, crossing boundaries where the media is having its way with us. As our global community strives to manage a pandemic, cultural unrest, massive disruption, and uncertainty, we reach an inflection point concerning the state of leadership in these times. The demand for effective leadership is a cry heard across every corner of the globe. The wind has blown, our cradle has rocked. Now the bough breaks as we prepare for the fall, and down has come the world as we know it, cradle and all. The levee has broken, and disruption is the new normal. So that was the start of it. The words just fell off the page. Disruption is the new normal, and that was where I really looked at myself, and I looked at what I was doing, how I could contribute, and what was really happening in the world that we could really solve some of the biggest challenges that we were facing. To contemplate where we're at today and how we need to shift from a change management perspective into a disruption management perspective. This is the world that we're in today. I myself have been operating in a disruption management approach. Prior to, I'd always refer to myself as a productive disruptor. Oftentimes because I was invited to, join teams, deliver a talk, work with a client, usually under extreme circumstances. Consultants are all short when there's massive disruption. In a change management perspective, there's planning involved. There's a team around. There's outside counsel. You can dictate what the outcome is going to be, and that is the goal, to navigate change smoothly. But that was not what has taken place in my world. Oftentimes, I received opportunities because someone took sick, or they couldn't find anyone. Even though I may be qualified, it's just not how opportunities have come my way. And so I operated my journey and most of my career from a disruptive approach, which I now refer to as disruption management, and celebrate being a productive disruptor. I'm sure many of you here can relate to that in your own journey of what that looks like and how that's taken place. I think now we have an amazing opportunity to leverage our skills, our naturally inclined abilities, especially as Black folks in technology, who we around how to navigate in disruption and move into the leadership space in helping others, because we have the innate ability to see under the hood or around corners just based on who we are and the place and spaces and things we've had to navigate. And so now I'm really championing, us and myself to move ahead and really own, the work that we've done and celebrate as we move forward with our disruption management approach. I also, think that it's now time for us to leverage, our abilities as leaders to, have those crucial conversations, navigate those tough waters where we are expected to not only lead teams, but also skillfully navigate the minefield of inclusive engagement. A lot of these conversations are not foreign to us, and it's now time, and we're seeing so much of it happen around the globe where our voice is now valued, and we know this domain all too well, and who better than to take the charge than to do this as we move forward. And data is what I refer to as the new currency, but I'm not alone. We know that in today's world, with so much information at our fingertips, access to so much data, resources, support through the internet, ignorance can be a choice. And we know that it is, important for us as we move forward in our lives, especially in business, to leverage the data for us, leverage it to the point so that we can have better business intelligence and make more sound decisions. We don't have to be the first anymore. We can leverage the data so we can, skillfully navigate, innovate, and thrive, through disruption as well. And I'm excited because I'm hearing and feeling, and especially many of the conversations I've had on Clubhouse the last 6 months, there is such an appetite for us to come to really, look at how we're going to lead moving forward. There's an organic, authentic approach that's coming about, the desire to collaborate, to connect with one another, and take a step back and look at how we can be empowered and move the collective forward. Like I said, from the conversations around the globe that we've been having, from the families, from the Zooms, the communities, it's just been amazing, how we've been able to come together. And I think I'm extremely blessed to be around at this time to see this. And in many moments, private moments, I've, given thanks to my grandparents for allowing me to, and my parents to be here at this time. Because I truly believe that we are in a new era. I believe we're in a new era of, of a renaissance of impact leaders coming together, where people are allowed and feel celebrated and showing up as their whole self. There's a spirit of one that's a rebirth, where we are, grounded in truth, transparency, and really accepting what is happening in the world around us. I'm feeling and seeing a celebrated way of thinking and living amongst us, where we're seeing the courageous among us to really stand up and have those crucial conversations and find a way for a sustainable and equitable future moving forward. One of the things that I'm known for and celebrated for, and often, laughed at at the same time, is asking questions, being able to ask those questions. Sometimes not always, at the most appropriate time, but sometimes a necessary time. And I believe a lot of life makes sense backwards. And if we can ask a question, sometimes you never know the answer that may be resulted from it. And in this time, I've been really asking myself, really asking others, and wanting to understand, what is the new normal? What does this look like moving forward? And I've been able to, in my years of, working in digital technology and the various roles I've had, the various work I've done in the community, the various work with clients, and seeing that in the last decade, there have been kind of 4 pillars to how things are evolving in the new normal. And I call them the 4 E's. It is our ability to earn, our ability to engage, our ability to educate, and our ability to express ourselves. And that has definitely been leveraged through technology. And these are the fundamental areas that we're seeing rapid growth during these times. And as we're thinking of solutions for businesses, leveraging technology, how we're gathering in communities, how we're supporting our families, all roads kind of lead back to the four E's: earnings, engagement, education, and expression. We've now seen the harmonization of life-work balance take place through the pandemic because of the work from home integration. Folks who never imagined this could be possible, it's happening. Many folks are now even looking at the ability to find a job, find an opportunity. Many folks are finding multiple streams of income in their ability to navigate due to the virtual world. So what is that looking like for recruitment? We're seeing the reengineering of recruitment. Individuals with the Great Resignation, we're seeing people say, we want to do something different. This is not how we want to continue to engage. We're seeing many folks, especially in the tech world, name their price, name their conditions for how they want to be engaged, and really defining who they are and how they show up in the world. We're seeing this change also through entrepreneurship. One time it was a side business, but I'm seeing many millennials moving forward with life with 2 or even 3 plan A's. It's not technology can leverage all of that. So our earning potential and our life work balance is really changing. And how we engage, the communication channels, social media, internet is democratized. Who has a voice? How we express that voice, along with the evolution of physical space. Do we need that much space anymore if we're, how we're working? The physical space in the work environment has changed, and the home environment has changed, and community has changed and continue to change. Even just the inclusion of natural elements from nature, and what's really exciting is I'm seeing the return to community. The pandemic made it really clear to us how important community and family can be. And sometimes it's not until it's taken away from us that we really realize how valuable it is. But the problems we have today require solutions we haven't seen in the past. And I believe it's an all hands on deck approach. We need the young gamer at the table. We need the elderly gentleman on the golf course. Everybody at every stage has wisdom and support, because technology in some cases has been the equalizer. We're all using Zoom. We're all on our devices. So we all should be solving the problems. In terms of education, we've seen how on-demand education and micro-credentialing is changing the world. Through certifications, the ability for individuals to quickly gain access to tools and resources to skill up and get into the workforce, transition into roles that they had never imagined. It's really breaking down, the barriers and of to entry. And with technology moving so fast, it really allows opportunities for those of us that want to run, the ability to run. You know, I'm a lifelong learner, and I love to learn, which is one of the reasons I believe I'm happy to be in this industry, because there's always something new that you're learning, and we're seeing that. We're seeing folks at every stage of development and career, you know, learn tech. Myself, I came about it through digital technologies as an educator, but now at my age, I'm learning to code and learning Python, and welcoming a whole new family of folks in the coding space. And that is changing the game and how we express ourselves. These are unprecedented times where, like I said, we can now define who we are and how we show up in the world. And we're now going beyond the bio. You know, I always laugh and say, you know, there was a time, and I remember this, when your resume and what you did was a private document just between yourself and HR. It wasn't shared to the public. Now we move beyond the bio. We know more about each other, about strangers, you know, through our LinkedIn profiles or social media profiles. And this is the new normal. And also we have to remember that for many of us, this is still uncomfortable. So this is adopting that transparency approach. It's affecting all of us in various aspects of our lives. And it's very much affecting us in leadership. Which brings me to the next question. Every time I ask this, I get a new insight, depending on the group I ask it to, or depending who I'm talking with. Who leads the leader? Who leads the leader? Especially in these times. There's not a playbook for how we're going to move forward this time. When we look at leadership in the new normal, I would break it down into 4 key areas where we've seen and continue to see amazing transformation: communications, cultural acuity, decency, and data. When I use the word decency, I've been using a lot lately, and a number of folks have said to me, you know what, we need to bring that word back. It was very popular a while back, but yeah, it's time to bring it back. Like I said earlier, we know the cry of leadership across the globe. What is happening with leadership is, you know, why are we challenged with leadership? Well, the transparency has allowed us to see things we didn't know existed before, and really question how we lead and how we're going to continue to lead, and who is leading us. Part of that comes from us really understanding who is leading the leader. Especially in today's times with communication, there's that other question. Are we leading or are we influencing? We've seen the rise of the great influencer in social media, online. Are they leading us or are they influencing us? Are we selling or are we resonating? What does that look like in this space of leadership? We understand the language today is changing. It's an evolving lexicon, you know, from understanding hashtags to acronyms to reading with reading words with no vowels, you know, and still understanding what's happening. But the currency of language is also important. We've seen the impact of a tweet. We've seen the impact of a few words sent out and what that can do to a society, to someone's soul, to a whole community of folks, to a decision. One decision can impact so many people. And we've seen recently how the shutdown of a few platforms can really give folks a moment, the cause for pause, and say, who are we? Who has that much hold over our movements, our activity? Again, who is leading the leader? I'm just going to comment. That speaks to the power of data, information, and influence. Absolutely, Shaquille. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. Another amazing person we've been able to build with over on Clubhouse. Great to see you folks in here. There's so much talk right now about DEI and diversity and inclusion and equity. And that's one facet of cultural innovation. But let's talk about cognitive diversity. Let's talk about the minds of all of those around the table and the spectrum of capacity that we have to pull from. Beyond the folks from a diverse perspective, think of how many minds have not been at the table and fully optimized to be included in the world of what we have today. Think of what the new normal will look like when we have organizations like Blacks in Technology, bridging the divide, leveling the playing field, ensuring that those of us in the community get leveled up, skilled up, so that we can compete and stay engaged in the next 10, 20, 30 years and change the trajectory of our earning potential, our family capacity. And for many of us, the first time to be able to, create generational wealth. What does that look like for us in the new normal? Well, being able to leverage data also, which is the asset, the non-depreciating asset that we can continue to, the gift that keeps giving, we can say. It allows us to learn from the past and not recreate some of the mistakes, and look some things as plain and simple. Look it in the eye and say, how do we want to move forward? How do we now create the new normal with what we have, with where we're at, and who we're with? Data also, forces our hand at accountability, and especially with leaders and data-driven leadership. When we have that radical transparency for how it not only forces us to make the right decision, but it allows all of us to see an example of what that looks like. And then we move to the approach of what is decency in today's world. As a leader, definitely a difference between a leader and an influencer, but as a leader today, we no longer make the decision for a chosen few, and it's no longer appropriate for us to direct the traffic of so many people, and so many people have a voice and deserve to have a voice. It's a collaborative approach moving forward for all of us. Not to mention, I keep asking the question, who leads the leader? Because oftentimes the leader is leading themselves. And we want to also have grace for our leaders, especially in these times as there's no models moving forward. But my philosophy of leadership is one of a shared leadership model, one where we have folks around the table from the various disciplines and aspects that are required to solve the problem at hand. One that is inclusive of the various facets of our lives, our community, our families. One that represents who we are and what we're going through in life in real time. And in leveraging the data-driven approach, being mindful that Yes, data is important, it's there, but we as the individuals are going to always be the root cause versus relying on machine learning and AI to take over. And being empowered to always ask the catalytic question, what is the problem we want data to solve? Always embracing the ownership of that role when it comes to our data. And taking it one step further, especially as a data-driven leader, and understanding the fundamental truth that in these times moving forward, we need to build data-driven organizations where we're answering that question throughout the entire organization and no longer relying on a few experts to dictate or share what they feel is relevant for the organization or the community at hand. It's an all hands on deck approach. We need folks on the front end, we need folks on the back end, we need folks at the top, at the bottom, and all in between, asking that critical question, what is the problem we want data to solve? That is data-driven leadership in the new normal. Because without it, we're missing half of the wealth and the knowledge that we have to move forward. We need to adopt the 4 elements and understand the 4 elements and remind ourselves that we are leading the way in individuals. We are embracing technology, we are celebrating technology, but we, at the end of the day, are charting our path for what our world is going to look like in the new normal. And I think that, there's so much uncertainty and so many opinions, so many ways forward. But I'd like to break things down simply so that no matter who I'm speaking with, no matter where they're at in the world, we can start coming together to solve problems. And one of the ways I do that is to break, data-driven leadership down into, 3 major components. At the end of the day, whether you're talking to a community leader, a business leader, an athlete, an entertainer, or your next door neighbor, we can all understand a problem if it's broken down into 3 categories. And being able to simplify this is the first step in us being able to galvanize as one. I heard a phrase that's probably a popular phrase yesterday on Clubhouse by Richard Olson. He's the head of the Black think tank. And he said, it's about having that common unity, which is community. As simple as it was, I was blown away. And I thought, how come I've never heard that before? But it makes sense. There are 3 things that we have to consider when we're moving forward. All roads lead back to the 3 elements in some capacity. Of course, there's other things. It's our ability to ask the problem, what is the problem we want data to solve, from identifying technology, from identifying our operations, and identifying our culture. Looking at the world through that lens is a very inclusive way that we can start navigating and mitigating some of the challenges that we're facing. I know many leaders who've said, one of the best lessons they've had, or what's made them the most successful, is that they were that person one day early on in their career that was working on the phones in the sales department. They had those conversations with the customer and the end user, and they knew what the problem was and the pain points of the problem of the customer so they could, provide a better solution. Well, it's the same for us. We might have to go back to what we thought and felt as a youth. We may have to envision what we might think and feel that we would want as an elder in the later stage in life, and envision, what could really be an optimal way moving forward today if we approach things from looking at it from the aspects of technology, operations, and culture. And by harmonizing all of that together to shape the new world as we know it, and taking into consideration the realities of the disruption that is a part of our way, and embracing that disruption, because in disruption, it allows for voices that we had not heard, people that we had not been seen, and spaces where we had never gone before. So I celebrate this time of disruption. It's a time where I can be all of who I am, bring my whole self to the table, and harmonize the various facets of myself to be the best version of myself. And so I know that the way forward is not going to be easy. It's not going to be a path of simple steps. I know that the problems are continuing to be, complex, but I really think that the way forward is going to be one where we really celebrate where we are at as a culture, leverage that into innovation, embrace data so we can make data-driven decisions, and leverage that to our benefits, and really put a concerted effort into ensuring that we as leaders and organizations collaborate, and ensure that we innovate for the rapid changing world where we know disruption is our new normal. So on that, I'd like to say thank you for listening to me today. I'd love to continue the conversation on Clubhouse. We've been having it all week, and I'm excited to do more. We'll be on Clubhouse every Sundays. We're going to continue with a bit of a speed networking so that we get to continue to build and know everyone in our community. And I believe we have a few minutes for any questions. If anyone has a question, there have been some great comments in the chat, and I'm excited to see all your faces because I can continue the conversation with you on Clubhouse or, over Zoom. Thank you, Lucille. So glad you're able to make it. Shaquille, Andrew, Greg, thank you all so much for joining. Marlena, thank you. She's my I call business bestie on Clubhouse. We've just been really having amazing conversation and supporting each other along the way. And yes, Clubhouse is absolutely open to the public. It's the Blacks in Technology group on Clubhouse. And we've had amazing conversations there. Byron the Magnificent on Clubhouse, great to see you. What's so amazing is that when we talk about, cultural innovation, it's one that brings everyone to the table, because everybody has a story and everybody has a journey. And this is what's so powerful about Clubhouse, is that we're realizing there was never a linear path to where you're at and where you're going. And this has brought about almost a sigh of relief for many of us, realizing, okay, I thought I was the only one, having this, navigating all of these waters and all of these, terrain. And we realized, no, this was just the way it is. And this is it was disruption for a lot of us, and many of us who were the first to enter a lot of places. I can speak to that, places and spaces. And my presence at times, just me showing up, as a Black woman, was disruptive. So I understand, we live in this world. But I'm excited that now we have an opportunity to celebrate this and leverage all of our collective strengths and create a new world moving forward. So I want to thank you all, and all those other speakers. Thank you for sharing and continue to build us as a community and a global community. And I just see a lot of great comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for contributing. I really appreciate that. So let's continue the conversation. Thank you, Kenya. Yes, join us all on Clubhouse. Awesome. Shaquille. Yes. And we had some amazing conversations this week around folks sharing their journey. I mean, the stories of those of us in tech, there's no two stories are alike, and they're all just as inspiring, So I just want to say thank you to everyone. And I guess we're getting ready to wrap up. Look forward to engaging with you over the next coming days. All my information is actually on the site, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on my, I think there's LinkedIn, Twitter, and my website, and you'll find my email on the website as well. And I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you all for sharing and contributing to this conversation at some point, because many of you have been, this feels like a week-long conversation that's just continuing. So, and we're just getting started. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you next time. Bye now.